screen if you need clarification from the speakers. One Nazura, my assistant, will take note and forward the questions to the speaker, who will attend to the questions at the end of the 4 slots. Number 3, we will provide you all relevant links after the session. There will also be a feedback link as well as an attendance link posted on the presenting screen at the end of the session, in which we will allow 10 to 15 minutes for you to fill in before we close the meeting. Now, allow me to bring your attention to the objectives of today's session. Our objective is to share methods and activities on conducting and recording online assessment for the 4 main skills in Cefr-Aligned lessons. If you notice in our topic, the phrase visible progress is synonymous with the ongoing observational improvement, where we observe the progress of pupils in our online classroom. In real-time classroom, we call this classroom assessment or PBD, Pentaksiran Bilik Darjah. It is suggested that we call this kind of assessment as collecting evidence, because when we assess students online, we keep simple records and observational records and not hard copies with marks on them like the test papers. The presenters will show some samples on how these records can be collected and recorded for teachers to key in the main PBD report template. Now let's look at our focus for this session, which consists of 3 subtopics. Number 1, how is online assessment different from face-to-face assessment? Number 2, what kind of assessment methods and activities can be used? And number 3, how can we record and report progress? Teachers, I would like to get some feedback from you on the first subtopic. Please type your answer in the chat box on how is online assessment different from face-to-face assessment. Can you please type in the chat box now? How is online assessment different from face-to-face assessment? All right, I can see some responses given by all of you. The originality of the product will be tagged, will be queried. Okay. No body language, time frame. Okay, can't be sure if we are grading the students' actual work. The originality of the answers can be queried, yes. Expression, computer generated. You don't see the student's personality. All right, online is something that you observe based on the work handed in or ideas shared during video conference, right? Okay, thank you very much for your responses. Okay, these are actually our challenges when doing online assessment. Okay. All right, due to the fact that there are lots of challenges faced by teachers when assessing pupils online, I would recommend that we resort to managing assessment differently. Okay. Let me show you a few things that we can do to ensure assessment via online is managed well and organized. Well, I've mentioned earlier that online assessment is treated as collecting evidence on how well pupils can do something. The process of collecting pupils' progress is ongoing. And since we are still in CMCO period, and we will be moving into MCO recovery phase tomorrow, we can only do online assessment. We record our pupils' progress according to their performance or how well they can use certain learning standard. In saying so, we don't look solely at their scores or marks. We assess the usage based on the learning standard. The second thing that we need to keep in mind is don't worry about cheating. Of course, we need to constantly advise our students to attempt the question on their own during assessment because we want them to improve gradually. And we always tell them that each one of them is talented in one particular skill. If they share their answers during online assessment, we need not worry so much. However, we can take some measures to minimize cheating by using certain platforms to assess pupils. This will be shared by the speakers later. Next, we tell our pupils how and what we are assessing them. This is based on the learning standards for that particular lesson. We need to refer to the performance standard guide in our DSKP to determine the performance level of our students. The speakers will display the performance level in their respective slots later on. Okay, finally, we record the range of progress achieved according to the learning standards that we are assessing. Teachers may keep simple records in a file as evidence of pupils' progress. Okay, now let's move on to the next two subtopics, which are what kind of online assessment methods and activities can be used, and how can we record and report progress. For these two subtopics, allow me to invite our first speaker to speak on how she conducts activities and what assessment methods she used when assessing speaking and listening skills. Let's hear from Dr. PETALING, an English language teacher from SMK Taman Desaminium. Dr. PETALING has been an English language teacher for 18 years now. Besides being an English language JU of Petaling Perdana district, she is actively involved in MELTA. In fact, she is the Director of Special Projects for MELTA Malaysia. And whoever knows her will agree that she is a dedicated and committed English language teacher. Over to you, Dr. Tay.
Okay, thank you, Alison. Can you hear me? All right.
Yes, very clear.
Okay, good. Right. Good morning to all the teachers, to the officers from JPN and my PPD officer, Puan Nulina. All right. Before I begin with the PPD issues here, let me go walk through again CFR. So we know that we have been exposed to CFR, this framework, for like maybe this is the third year from Form 1, Form 2, yeah, together 1 year, then Form 3, and this year is Form 4. So look at these aspirational targets. Okay, we target by 2025. Okay, our pupils, our new generation, our young generation, they should move on from these A1, A2, B1, B2, and B2 and C1. As we are all in secondary school, right? We are secondary school teachers. We are focusing on the Form 1 pupils at revised A2 level, Form 2 pupils at A2 high level, Form 3 B1 low, and Form 4 B1 mid. And next year, we are going to face our pupils with a B1 high in 2021. So these are our targets. So how does it translate into our teaching? This is how. Okay, remember in CFR, we need all these documents. So document leaders are SOW, our scheme of work, our lesson plan, our DSKP, whereby you can find our PPD performance standard there with the levels, okay, and our PPD progress form, and also our template, okay. All these you can find from our PPK website. And of course, the lesson plan, you have your own template, Okay, each school has your own template lesson plan that you use it to plan your lesson and with all the documents. And of course, not forgetting our textbook, okay, if you're using a textbook. All right. When we look at Form 1, I especially, okay, my pointer here. This is KSSM Bahasa English Tingkatan 1. If you look at Form 1, when you have the performance level from 1 to 6, right? So at level 1 is hardly understand the main ideas, okay? And again, we are looking at listening skill here. So number 1, level 1 is hardly understand. And number 2, the keyword here just require limited understanding. And 3, acquires adequate understanding, all right? I just show you the difference of each level. And 4, acquires good understanding. That means, yeah, you know, it's just nice, just good understanding. And this level 5 acquires very good understanding of listening skill. It shows very good understanding. That means can move on. And at level 6, this particular pupil acquires and uses the listening skill in identify main ideas, can pick up the key words and so on. And look at the notes here. The notes here, they're very important. At level 1, your pupil requires support for revised A2. Yeah, remember our pupils come in when they enter Form 1, their entry point is at revised A2. Okay, so moving on to level 2 on track. Okay, I don't go through so much on this one because later I'm going to show you an analogy. Okay, so this is for Form 1 A2 high target. As we move on to Form 2 guideline, this performance standard here. For Form 2, KSSM Form 2, we are looking at A2 high level, then moving on to B1 low. Remember? So how does all this translate into the general performance? Remember our template has the 4 skill, the listening skill, the speaking skill, the reading skill. You have to evaluate their writing skill, and the end of it, there is one general performance standard. Please, teachers, the performance standard does not come in like, you know, it's not like listening skill, you get 2, the student get 2, and speaking 2, then the reading 3, and then the writing maybe 3. You don't add up the total and then divide by 4. No, that's wrong. Okay, you base on these descriptors here, the performance level. It's hardly achieved, whether it's on track or not. So let me use a running analogy to explain this. So let's run together, yeah? Right, this is my running analogy. There are 5 laps here. You see 5 laps? It represents from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So on the first lap, our pupils, when they exit the first lap here, the entry point, this is the first lap for Form 1. Then the Form 2, bigger round. Form 3, more challenging. Form 4, more challenging. And the Form 5, the outer lap here, the lane. Then the pupil will run until the end. And you can see this stickman here, the exit point. Remember the exit level for Form 5? What is the exit level for Form 5? B1 high, okay? So back to our performance level 1. So using this running analogy, at level 1, a pupil requires support to achieve curriculum target. Remember, we have 5 targets from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. They are different. Yeah, they have low, mid, and high. Okay, so what kind of support? Support we're talking about, is it motivation you're giving to the pupils? Okay, in terms of listening, basic requirement for the language skill. Okay, if you're talking about writing skill maybe. So what kind of basic grammar that you need to support your pupils? Okay, and then here, do you provide any opportunity for them to listen or even speak up? Okay, we give them the platform to practice. So this is a kind of support that we're talking about to help them achieve, yeah, achieve the curriculum target. Then what kind of you have to teach, okay? Not only giving support, we as teachers, we always need to give the input. So the input to teach learning strategies. Okay, we have listening strategies, speaking strategies, reading strategies, and also writing strategies. All these will be exposed to when we went for our cascading. Yeah, there are so many steps and so on. So we can go back to our notes. Okay, I'm not going to elaborate on all these strategies. So that is level 1. Then at performance level 2, your pupil is on track to achieve curriculum targets. On track means your pupil is right, is at the correct lane, the lane number 1 for Form 1. A pupil is ready to run on his own or her own. That means learning takes place and the outcome is being observed and assessed. We as teachers, we assess them, we observe, and we find ways to help them. At level 3 now, the pupil achieves expectation to achieve curriculum targets. At level 3. I remember those days when the PPD and the PPS time, they say, oh, your pupil must achieve 3, at least 3. So what does 3 stand for? At 3, that means your pupil achieved the expectation there. Okay, that means it's at the right lane, at the right level to achieve curriculum targets. So running and progressing on the track, that means your pupil can move. Okay, it's not stagnant. It's not, sitting there not doing anything. You must make sure your pupil can run and progress because that is a destination for them. Okay, remember the destination, the end point. Yeah. So at performance level 4, and your pupil is on track, not only on track, but on track to exceed expectation, can go beyond. Okay, so that means that it can run more than 60% of the targeted track. Okay, it's good, doing well. The people is doing well. Okay, it's doing more than 50% that you have taught them and so on, can produce. Okay, so it's on track to exceed. At level 5, a pupil is working towards exceeding the expectations. Okay, remember just now at Form 1, they are at revised A2. That means the pupil can work on the A2 high level for Form 2. That means can go into A2. At performance level 6, a pupil exceeds expectation. That means this student, this pupil is so good, it's already over. At Form 1, she's maybe at B1 low. So already it's exceed expectations to achieve curriculum target. For example, a debater in your school. Okay, right. But how about, look, we have different learners. We have different runners. Okay, so there are some, will run halfway and say, teacher, no, I can't write, I can't speak. Okay, my English is the worst among my subjects. Okay, so what should we do? Right, so we look for materials to suit them and we adapt and adopt, and we went through our material adaptations and so on. We know what suits them well. You know your students, okay, and we know that we have differentiation strategies. Okay, so different in terms of time, different learners, okay, different resources that they have. Give them more guidance and support to help them progress. Remember, they have to run. Not only running, they have to finish the lab and finish the first lab, going to the second lab for Form 2, Form 3, Form 4, and Form 5. And the exit point is at B1 high. So that is our aim here as secondary school teachers, to help our pupils to complete the 5 labs. Right, so back to my listening lessons now. So far, I've used 3 ways to conduct my listening lessons. The first one, of course, just use the audio from the textbook. All right, if it's Form 1, Form 2, use the paused. Right, Form 3, the close-up book, and the Form 4, our full blast. So just use the audio, very easy. Okay, here I give an example for Form 3, lesson 34 on this special relationship. This is the past lesson actually. So after I plan it, then I put it in my lesson plan here with all the learning standard, learning objectives here, activity. Please remember, teacher, this is an abridged version of my lesson plan, my school lesson plan for MCO and CMCO. So it's shorter in a way, yeah. And of course, you need to remember to put in your self-reflections, because why reflection is very important, because during this MCO, okay, we don't face everyone. Maybe, we only get out of 32 students. If we can get half of them, that is quite an achievement. That is for my school, yeah? So maybe some school, you are very lucky, your students are very responsive, okay? So make do with what you have. Okay, so this example of the textbook, okay? I will screenshot, I'll put it on my screen when I'm using the GCR class with them, okay? So I do the first part of this listening lesson here. The first part is to teach them. Please remember, teachers, whenever you do your listening lessons or speaking lesson, you need to teach them first, okay? In order for you to carry out your PBD well, you need to teach them first. You can't just go in there, okay, today we do PBD. No, all right? You need to teach them first, okay? So we do this listening task with this, I came up with this teaching point here, okay? So teach them the phrases here, the emotions, positive emotions, negative emotions, using the emojis, okay? So our pupils they use the computer so much, so they know, okay? They look at the smiley face, the angry face, and so on and so forth. Then only you click on this audio and your pupils will listen to 4 people talking and match them to how they feel. So lesson done for listening, okay? Then you come up with, I came up with not only after the teaching part, the second part, because PT3 listening sample, the format is still very relevant. You need to expose your students with the new format, okay? Even though for now, the Form 3 students will say, oh, no more PT3 for this year, but I can tell you for Form 4, the format, okay, it's quite similar. It's just the extension of it. They still do MCQ questions. They still fill in the blanks. So listening is very important because practice makes perfect. They need to practice more and form this kind of new format. So this is an example of the PT3 listening sample I've carried out with my pupils, and yeah, they could do this. Then the third way, this is my favorite one as well. Search from the internet for free online audio. Yeah, the term is free, right? So how do we type? We ask Mr. Google, okay? Go to Google, you just type B1 listening. If you're looking at Form 1, then A2, Form 1 can be A, because if you have very weak students, you can type A1 listening, okay? So A2 listening, B1 listening. If you have advanced pupils, okay, B2 listening. So it's up to you. Okay, example of free online audio. This is from British Council. You see? So this is the link here. Later in the end of this session, okay, we have already compiled the links and we will post it to you in the download in the chat box. So this intermediate B1, you see, for listening for British Council, they have put it as in like pre-intermediate, the beginners, the intermediate, upper intermediate, and advanced. Okay. One very important key thing is before you play any audio to your pupils, please check the audio first. Okay, listen and check first whether it's suitable for our pupils. Yeah, that's very important. This is the one sample. Second one is, this is from Exam English. Okay, so Exam English, www.examenglish.com. Okay, again here they have topics here describing people, education, accommodation, and so on. So feel free to explore and use it during your teaching at home. And free online, again, this is the third one. This is testenglish.com. All right, so you have this, you see, maybe this is quite relevant to us. Yeah, so feel free to explore. You see, looking at this website alone, we have grammar points, listening, reading, use of English, and writing. Okay, so it's free, teachers, so just use it. Right, then how if you say you want to find your local context that will suit your pupils? How? Let's say I want them to know about Cameron Highlands. Okay, this is a text for Form 4. So how do you translate this into audio? How do you translate this into the voice? Okay, some teachers say, well, I will read to my pupils. Yes, you can read Cameron Highlands, what's the name of the blah, blah, blah. But we have technology. Make use of the technology which is free. Again, the keyword is free. Okay, I'll show it to you how, let's say you have this wonderful text that you for your pupils and you want to convert it into the audio. This is a very good example, okay? From www.naturalreaders, you click on this, okay? You go to this website, it's free text to speech online. So you just copy your text that you want and put it here. I would like to show you. Okay, for example, I take the Cameron Highlands text, our local, you want to localize the culture, things that you want to expose more about Malaysia or Malay, Malaysia culture and so on. So for example, this Cameron Highlands, okay? So you have a text that you like, you copy, then you paste. You paste it here. Okay. All right, so I paste it here. All right. Then the wonder of this website, you can choose the speakers. Are you looking at US or UK? You can choose whether you want Brian to speak or Emma, Kate or Amy. And you have Australian English, you have Spain and so on. All these I haven't explored. I only focus on UK, English, UK. Yeah. And another very interesting part is the speed. You see, the speed, 0 means the normal speed. All right. And 1 and 2, that means go faster. -1, -2, slower. I've tried -2 and 3, slow, very slow. Don't try -7 because in -6 or -7, the speaker speak like a sloth, really, really slow. Okay, let's say I will try 0 then. Okay, so after you have a copy and paste here, you choose your speaker and the speed that you want and can just play. Hopefully my internet can support. Yeah. The voice didn't come out. Okay, I expected this actually. Okay, doesn't matter. So this is how I'm going to show you. You can explore yourself. Okay, so back to my slide. Okay, this is the one, the Cameron Highlands that I said. All right, not only one, you can try another one, just called fromtexttospeech.com. Okay, www.fromtexttospeech.com. Again, you copy your text here and you convert text to speech. Very easy. If you don't want to read out the scripts that you got, you can, even using the same script from your textbook. Remember, your textbook has the scripts. Yeah, if you think the speaker has been talking to the speed is too fast for your pupils, you can copy and paste it here and use that one just now. You control the speed, okay? Maybe -1 or -2. Then the speaker will speak slower to suit your pupils. All right. And after having done all the PPD thing, and how do I record? So this is the bottom perkembangan PPD, the progress form. All right, and this is my Form 4 class, the name list here, just as simple as a name list and the columns here, listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Why I put 2 or 3, you can put 2 or 3 because do not take the assessment, just take the first assessment. It's not fair. For example, Ali. If Ali is at level 2, okay, you can ask Ali, okay, Ali, now your performance level is at 2. Would you like to improve? Okay, if yes, you do the second time for Ali and Ali can improve. Remember, the key word for this PPD is progressive. That means they can learn better, they can progress and they can improve further on. I put my ujian march here because I put it as like my take-off value, like a benchmark for me, because during MCO and CMCO, I don't see them face to face. So at least I have something to fall on to. I know, oh, this particular maybe students, the level is such. So how do I help? Okay. Right. So that was about listening. Now I move on to speaking skill. Again, if you look at this Form 1, the notes here, the performance, the curriculum target is at A2, revised A2, right? Again, but Form 2 is at A2 high, so it's different. So if you have a if you have a good pupil who is at performance level 5 in Form 1, it does not mean that she or he is at performance level 5 in Form 2. Because when in Form 2, remember, during using the running analogy, the lane is bigger, is wider. That means it's more challenging. So that particular students, when having level 5 in Form 1, maybe will start off at level 2 in Form 2. So you have to look at the descriptors. The descriptors are very important. Yeah, take out your descriptors and use it when you are assessing your pupils, so that it is more relevant, so that it has the relevability and also validity is there. Because the whole Malaysia teachers, English teachers, we are using the same descriptors. We're going to evaluate them the same way. Yeah. Okay, speaking lesson now. Micro learning elements. Why do I say micro learning elements? Because it's divided into two parts. The first part, I need to teach first. Teaching all the words, the phrases needed for the speaking task. Okay, I use the speaking frames. In our Form 3 textbook, okay, if you realize at the back part of it, it has the speaking frames, you know, what are the words to use in certain kind of context. If you want to ask directions, okay, what kind of WH questions that you use. So speaking frames. So presented using GCR, my Google Classroom, or those that I can't reach them, I put it in instructions and I post it in the WhatsApp as well, my teaching. Can always take photo and post it there, because it's not how many students that you can reach to. Yeah, if you have only 20 who responded to you, don't worry. Okay, as long as we as teachers, our core business is to teach. We already done our best. Okay, you have done something. You have carried out your lessons. So for those who can't really reach out to, when we go back to school, then we will meet them. Right. So the speaking task is explained and pupils are told of their groups. Before you carry out your task, you need to explain, okay, today you will do this, you will do that. So second part of the speaking lesson is a video call that I use using WhatsApp. It's like this, okay? So assessing pupils' speaking skill using WhatsApp video call. Okay, these are my Form 3 pupils. I always match them with different genders here. 1 boy, 2 girls, or sometimes 2 boys, 1 girl, yeah? Right, so in my group WhatsApp, first of all, you must save their phone numbers. Yeah, only then you can call them. This is the icon. Number 2, click on the phone icon here, the plus sign here. It means that you can call more than one. Choose their names to call. So I will click 1, 2, 3. Okay, I will call 3 at the same time. 3, call 3 pupils. Then the students will start speaking. But before they start speaking, you know, you can ask a few questions like, how are you? You know, what have been doing? Are you cooking a lot for, you know, how was your raya? Things like that, okay? So number 5, if you want to record, you can click screen recording using your phone, yeah? iPhone is screen recording. I'm not sure about other models, okay? And please don't forget to take a screenshot as evidence. That's very important because these are all evidence that you have to keep. Just like what ALISON has mentioned just now, you need to collect evidence. And these are visible progress. So visible progress here is tangible. You can measure, right? So these are the progress evidence that we need to keep, because a student will come back to you. Teacher, why only get 3? Why not 4? Then you go out there. So what you have carried out that day, you know, this is what, okay, if you want to improve, you can improve further, then you explain. Okay. Okay. Assessing speaking skill. Assess pupils' performance level using the descriptors. Remember, that's very important. So because that's our benchmark. Observe what can they do. Remember the can do statements. Yes, we have to take note what they can't do as well, because from there you know, okay, what kind of materials, what kind of level that I should introduce to the pupils. And give feedback on their speaking skill after the call, okay? After the call, teacher. Don't give them feedback then. Of course, you can give positive feedback, okay, good, well done, and so on, okay? The constructive feedback you can give after that. Remember, you have their numbers. You can always PM them, all right? Okay, look, I need, please work on your grammar, you know, you should use what tense, blah, blah, blah. So give constructive feedback so that they can improve further on. And documenting and update your PPD file, your progress form. I have a file that in the form page I put PPD, very colorful and so on, but I left it in school. So what do I do now? During this MCO and CMCO, I reprinted that name list and I just jot down manually in the progress form. So then when the school reopens, I'll bring my the forms here back to my file and make sure I put it back into my file. And please don't forget your evidence. Print out some evidence. If you don't print all the evidence, you keep most of it in your phone, you print out some sample perhaps. Reachability. Most of my pupils have WhatsApp. Why do I use video call WhatsApp? Because I can reach them, you know, more coverage is there. And flexibility is there. In a WhatsApp call, now you can call 7, maximum 7 plus you 8, right? So yeah, but as for now, I didn't use more than 3 because many of my students, they do not have a very advanced phone. Yeah, they do not update their WhatsApp. So I'll still use 3 pupils in my speaking assessment. Right. Okay. And again, this is how I record. How to record? Use the bottom perkembangan PPD. Again, you put it here, speaking. Put the date here. Please remember to put your date, yeah? So remember, okay, what I've done on certain dates, okay? Put a date and comma and write your performance level. All right, teachers. Towards the end now for me. Start where you are. Okay, if you're in Sabah, okay, no problem. If in Sarawak, if in North Kedah, South Johor, okay. So don't worry, because some of you are perhaps now you're back to your station. Okay, before that you were somewhere in your hometown. Start where you are. Don't worry. Use what you have. If you have Telegram, you use Telegram. If you have WhatsApp, then WhatsApp. If you have everything, use everything. A bit of everything, right? Okay, because there's so many things that you can explore from the internet. Okay, so just spend some time, you know, explore and be happy. Actually, teacher, do what you can. Don't feel stressed. Yeah, I know sometimes, you know, in the beginning, I was quite stressful as well because oh gosh, I need to use the internet. I used to go online. How do I going to reach out to my pupils? Don't worry, step by step. Because we are in this new normal now. Okay. We're in this new normal. And this one. Slowly but surely, right? And I still remember when I was reading the Garis Panduan Pengurusan Pembukaan Sekolah, Pembukaan Semula Sekolah on page 15, 6.4.3 G, it says that melaksanakan pentaksiran bilik darjah berdasarkan hasil kerja murid. So indeed, it is written in our instruction, our Garis Panduan, we have to carry out PPD well. And H, it says that melaksanakan PPD apabila sesi persekolahan berguna bagi murid yang tidak dapat menyerahkan. That means if you can't reach out the pupils, you know, maybe in the rural areas, don't worry. When the school opens, you reach out to them and you just carry out what you've been doing. Okay, don't worry. Slowly but surely. With that, thank you. Pass to you, Puan Alison. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tay. It is indubitably a great sharing. I'm sure teachers can use the method and apps or platform that Dr. Tu has mentioned to conduct online assessment to our Form 1, 2, 3, and 4 pupils. Let's proceed to the next slide, which is assessing reading. The speaker will share with us the kind of online assessment methods and activities, as well as how to record and report progress. Let me invite Puan AMADIFILZAH binti Abindi, a young and sweet yet very capable English teacher. She is also an English language JU of PPD Petaling Perdana with 11 years of teaching experience. She is currently teaching in SMK Section 4 Bandar Kinrara. Over to you, Amadi.
Okay, thank you so much, Puan Alison. Hello everyone, I am Puan AMADIFILZAH binti Abindi from SMK Section 4 Bandar Kinrara. So today I am going to share with all of you of one way on how I collect PBD evidence for online reading skill lessons. Of course, there are several ways on how to do this, but I think this is the easiest way, and at this moment, most teachers are familiar with this platform that I'm going to share with you later on. Okay, so this is on reading skill. All right. So before we start, allow me to share this with you. These are the textbooks that we use for English language subject. Form 1 and Form 2s, we have Pulse 2. We share the same textbook. And Form 3, we have Close Up. For Form 4, we have Full Blast. So why I'm showing this? Because the textbooks are actually a good materials, a good source for us to look for reading materials. For Form 1 and Form 2, since that we are sharing the same textbook, so it is not enough for us to cover the lessons for the whole year. So that's why we have NTB lessons, the non-textbook lessons, especially for Form 1s and Form 2s. Again, maybe most of us, we're going to use the reading materials from the textbook here for our online lessons also. Okay. Okay, so basically when we want to do PBD assessment, there are some things that we need to look at. For example, the learning standards. Remember that we are doing this together with our PDPC or maybe PJJ, PDPC online. Okay, still we need to look at the learning standards and learning objectives must be derived from the learning standards over there, meaning that we still need to refer to the scheme of work, the SOW. And then we need to think of the instrument, what instrument to use, what platform to use. This platform must be reachable for the students, okay, since that this is online, this is PJJ, long distance, so we need to think of this. Just like what we always do in actual classroom, we need to consider of the differentiation strategies. We need to give support for the students, especially for the less ability students, yeah. And then we do PDPC and PBD assessment together. We don't do PBD assessment alone. We don't do PBD assessment separately. And based on the data that we have when we conduct our PBD assessment, we record the data and then we use the data that we have to analyze. What to analyze? On what we can do to help the students. We give room for the pupils to improve later on, and also maybe as a teacher we can also improve our classroom instruction later on, yeah. Okay, so now when we are talking about record, when we want to record, so far we don't have a standardized form. We only have a pupil's progress record. This one is based on teacher's own initiative to prepare one. So it's up to the teacher whether you prefer to have individual form or the whole class list form to record pupils' progress in PBD assessment. So it is highly recommended for you to have these items listed. if you want to prepare your pupils or progress forms, yeah. Okay, number one, you must have your pupils' names and also the class, of course. Number two, the learning standards, so that we know which learning standards that we are going to cover for that particular PBD assessment. Number three, the date of assessment for evidence. And last one, the PBD performance level. Performance level, this one, we need to refer to the DSKP. Yeah, these are the items that we recommend to have in our form. So allow me to share some examples. This one is for individual type, the progress form. Credit to Pelangi Publisher. And then as you can see here, the items we mentioned just now, all here, the pupil's name and class, and we have the learning standards over here. And then we also have the dates of assessment. And PL here is actually the performance level. We refer to the SKP. Okay? And we write down the performance level here in the column. So let's take a look another sample. Okay, this one is from Inspirasi Publisher. Still we have the items here. Okay, we have the pupil's name and class, and we have the learning standards together with the column for performance level. And here I believe that we need to write down the dates of the assessment also. It will be a good evidence for us, yeah. Just one thing that we need to remember, that if we use this template from the workbook here, this one is actually meant for the activities in the workbook itself. So if we have different activity, so in the learning standards over here, we might going to have different codes, different learning standards based on what we are teaching that day, yeah. Okay, those are the individual type. And this one I am sharing with you. This one was prepared by my school's English panel. Okay, this is the whole class type of form, where we have all pupils' name here in the form, and we have the codes here, all of it. And then the skills, and in the columns here we can write the dates or notes. Sometimes we can write, jot down notes over here for our further actions. Okay, let's see if I can share the actual form with you. Okay, one moment. Okay. Okay. All right, so this is the example on the whole class list, yeah. So the first page, we have listening skill over here with all the codes. And then if we scroll down, we can see on reading skill, okay. And then again, we scroll down, we can see writing skills, and last one, we can see speaking skills. So basically, this is the items, or to give you idea on how to prepare a progress form. Okay, the one that Dr. Teh shared also will be good for you to record the progress form. So let's go back to the slide. Okay, now before I share this with you, I just want to share to you on what I do with the form that we had prepared. First, I will print it out, and then I will put it in a file, a management file, one class, one file. And then after that, I will bring it to the classroom. If you're having your online class, I will put it next to me. And then when I do my online class, together with PBD assessment, okay, I will just jot down in the form, or I just tick and include the dates and so on. So that is one way on how I collect the PBD assessment. All right, So now I am going to share with you the Form 2 reading classroom instructions which we had conducted during MCO week 1 and also week 3 on non-textbook based lesson number 26 and also NTB 32. Both of these lessons are actually reading skill lessons. Why I show you 1 and 2, week 1 and 3, because during week 3, it seems like we had improved the lessons, yeah. All right, so this one is the classroom instruction for NTB 26. So we have here on the left hand side, we forward this message to the students, the pupils via WhatsApp group. We ask them to print out the handouts because this is non-textbook. So we prepare the handouts, the worksheets, activities, and we upload it on Google Drive. And this is the same skill also. Maybe if you are teaching using the textbook, you ask the students to copy from what page to what page, okay, and then you pass the instruction, you forward the instruction via WhatsApp. And then we notice that there are limitations to do this type of classroom instructions. We can't see the pupils' progress, you know, and then of course, we cannot follow up the lessons, and then if we cannot follow up, then meaning that we cannot collect evidence for PBD, and it is quite difficult to monitor or check progress. We are not sure whether the students are doing it or not, and so on. So on the 3rd week of MCO, we improvised our lesson. We prepare a Google form quiz, okay, where we upload the reading materials on Google form quiz online. And then the classroom instruction, again, we forward the classroom instruction via WhatsApp group, and we provide the link there for the pupils to click and do the form and do the quiz, okay? All right, so before I share with you the actual Google form quiz, just for sharing, a humble sharing from me. So again, here I'm showing you the scheme of work for lesson NTB 32 on reading skill. So here, as you can see here, the learning standards main skill reading 3.1.2 and complementary skill reading 3.1.3. So we can see the screenshot over here. For activity 1, this is actually how we did it. Okay, we want the students to understand specific details and information in simple longer text on a range of familiar topics. So we make it into true and false statement, the question here, and then this can be achieved in activity 1. So remember, this was our first attempt to do this online, yeah. So how about activity 2? Activity 2 here, this is the screenshot of the activity from the Google form. So if you can see here from the scheme of work, 3.1.3, guess the meaning of unfamiliar words from clues provided by other known words and by context on a range of familiar topics. So we have here the clues, and then with a little support over here, and then the students need to type it and submit it online, right? Okay, so I am going to show you the Google forms that we published for our pupils to do online, and then how we collect the data from the Google Forms activity for PBD assessment. Okay, let's see if this one is working. All right, so as you can see on the screen here, this is the Google form. we need to be the owner of the Google form so that we can see the tabs on top here, questions and responses. If you share other people's link, other people's form, you will not going to see this. You don't have access to see the responses. So it is advisable for the teachers to come up with your own form. Okay, so this is the text, and then we have the question. This is where we can achieve learning standard 1, and then the next activity, activity 2, where we can achieve for learning standard 2. All right, let's click on the responses tab on top here. If you use Google Form, you can see the summary, you can see the students' names, the pupils' name. Here you can see from each class how many students answered it. Remember, this one is for Form 2, so they don't have their own device. They need to share with the parents and the siblings and the rest of the summary items. Okay, now, how I collect data from this Google form is by clicking this icon. Okay, this green icon here, it will going to import the data into the Google Sheets, right? So this is how it looks like after we import the data. So we can see the timestamp here on the left hand side, student score, students name list, the class, teacher's name, and so on. So since that my English panel, we standardized the lesson. So this was our first attempt. So I need to filter it and make sure that I have only my own students list. So now after I filter the data, then I will have only my students list here, since I am teaching 2A and 2B. Both classes are actually having different English level proficiency, and I need to give different support for them. Okay, so let's go back to the slide. All right, let's see. Okay, so just now we already had imported the data from the Google form. We have it recorded. So here, based on the data, I will use my progress form. I print out, right? I printed it out, and then I will going to, if you prefer to tick, then you tick. I prefer to write down the dates here in the form, and then I put down the bands or the performance level here next to the dates. If you see here, I only focus on the 2 items of the reading skill items, because based on my SOW for NTB lesson 32, I cover these 2 learning standards. Yeah. So if I am not sure on what to give, on what level to give to my pupils, I will always check. Okay, double check from the DSKP here. This is form 2 DSKP. The rest of the forms also we have our own DSKP. And then I will read again, and I will double check the marks here. Right. So last step, twice a year, we need to transfer the data to the template pelaporan PBD, okay, prepared by the BBK. This one, we need to think of these important points. Yeah, when we transfer the data, we must think on the pupil's overall performance, and based on teachers' professional judgment. So we, as the English subject teacher, we know our students best. So based on their overall performance, we transfer the data into this template pelaporan. Okay, so we don't judge the students' performance level. We don't give the students' performance level based on only 1 or 2 lessons only. It's not fair for them. Some more, we need to give a room for improvement among the students. Yeah. Okay, so when we have the data here, this is from MOE website. What is PBD? Pentaksiran yang berterusan dalam sesi pengajaran dan pembelajaran. So it's an ongoing process. We do it together with our PDPC. We don't do PBD assessment separately, and then we align it with the CFR can do statements. And then based on the PBD data that we have, we can analyze it. We can identify the pupils that we need to focus on, or maybe during online class, that particular pupil didn't get to join the class, so we can focus on that particular pupil for the next class and give room for improvement, not only among the pupils but also for us, the teachers, to improve our classroom instruction. So here I am going to share to you a little bit of ideas on how to do differentiation in the lessons. Right, so these are some of the examples here. At the bottom part, we can see this is for high level, for Form 2, yeah? High level, high proficiency, where we ask the students, the pupils, to find the answer independently by reading the text. And low or mid, here we have provided support. We give them choices of answers. Still, they need to read the text, and then they choose from the words given in the box. Okay, this one, high ability, we still have this one. We believe that they will be able to find the words independently. Mid here, we provide certain letters for them, and low here, we give the letters what we unjumble it, and then they need to read the passage, the text, and look for the answer. Okay, next. Okay, this one is actually from the textbook. It seems that maybe most of us are going to utilize the textbook. So here we are going to ask the students, the pupils, to write short answer for this open-ended question for high ability students. But still, we might have those students who cannot write even a simple sentence. So we give support to them. How? For me, maybe we give them multiple choice of answer, and maybe for low level, we just give two choices. They underline within these two which one is the correct answer. This is reading skill. We focus on the skills. Maybe we want the students to focus on how to identify keywords, how to apply skimming and scanning skills. So that's why here in exercise 3, we don't judge them based on their writing skill. It's okay if they don't write it accurately. Yeah. Okay, for differentiation strategies, we have one more ideas here to differentiate by the time pupils are given to complete a task. When we do online tasks, we can set a time limit for the pupils to complete the task. This is to reduce the risk of cheating, because sometimes online we don't we are not really sure who are doing the activity on behalf of them. Okay, and then they can focus during online class. Maybe we can say, okay, I give you this question. I give you 2 minutes to attempt all questions, and then they can focus, right? So this one, maybe it is good if your pupils have their own device. For upper secondary pupils, maybe, and for for Form 1 and Form 2s, I think that it is a little bit difficult for us to do this because they share device. They don't have the device with them, right? So we need to make the Google form open, for example, for a week. Okay. So if you need more ideas on differentiation strategies on how to support your students, pupils, you can always go back to the SOW, the scheme of work over here, and look for the differentiation strategies for secondary pupils. Yeah. All right. So before I end my session, let me summarize my session for reading skill online. Even though that we are doing online class, we still need to refer to the SOW, check the learning standards, okay, sure that we are on track. And then think about what instrument, what platform will we are going to use. For online, for this sharing session, I shared with you, we use the Google Forms. And then always remember, even though that we are doing online class, we still need to consider on how to support the pupils and to practice differentiation strategies. It's an ongoing process. We don't do PBD assessment separately. We do PDPC and PBD assessment together. And also, based on the data that we have, we record for evidence, and then we can analyze it for improvement. Give room for the pupils to improve in our next lesson, and also as teacher, we can improve our classroom instruction. All right, so I think that's it from me on reading skills. Back to you, Puan Alison. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the clear and I would say very practical methods and activities you have just shared, Puan Amadi. I'm pretty sure many of you have used Google Form in assessing your reading skill. Okay, we can actually minimize cheating by limiting the period of time for students to send in their Google Forms responses. We can state in our instructions that students or pupils need to send their responses by a certain time. For instance, please send your Google Forms by 10:30 a.m. Your responses will not be counted. Okay. We can also stop accepting responses by turning off the accepting response button. Okay. All right. Let's proceed to the final slot. Our last speaker will share on the kind of assessment methods and activities pertaining to writing skill. She will also share on how she record and report the progress of her pupils. Let me invite Wan Michelle Lim Pek Sim from SMK Bandar Puchong Jaya B. Having experience in teaching English for 19 years now, Wan Michelle is also very active in MELTA. She holds the post as the secretary for MELTA KL chapter. During this MCO period, she has come up with lots of doable ideas to teach her pupils online. And she has shared with many teachers all around, especially teachers in PETALING Perdana district. I personally learned a lot from her too. Over to you, Michelle.
Hi, Puan Alice. Thank you so much, Puan Alison. Y'all can hear me? Can, huh? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, very clear.
Very clear.
Yes,
Right, yes,
loud and clear.
we're still, good morning, everyone. Good morning to all the officers. Good morning to everyone present. I think we come from everywhere. I don't think it's only for Selangor. Right, actually what today I'm doing is the final skill, the writing skill, something which I have been doing during this MCO, something which is not perfect, but it's doable and it's practical. Okay, because I believe we are also learning. I'm also learning actually along the way. Okay, so I share what I've been doing. And of course, you know, if there's any feedback, that will be lovely at the end of the session. Right, okay, let's start. Now, we are all English teachers. So what makes a good writing? When you have a writing lesson online, what do you want your pupils to write actually? What makes it a good writing? When your pupils write a piece for you, how do you consider that a good piece of writing? You will tell your pupils, oh, this is good. Nah, this is not good. So what makes a good writing? Are we looking into ideas? Okay, you want to see creative ideas? Are we looking into vocab? You know, English teachers, you know, everything you look at the vocab, your vocab is not good, you know, you cannot get an A as such. Are we like that? Are we going into context, you know, or grammar? You know, every time when we read something, the first thing we always see is grammar. Article is wrong, you know, it's plural. Probably English teachers are like that, you see. We always look for mistake. Or is it as long as my students can write in English, that's it, I'm fine. Okay, so what makes a good writing? Do we actually want our students to write what we want as a teacher? Or do we allow our students to write freely? Okay, and then from there we guide them. Okay, actually this is what you need to do and such. So I hope by the end of this session, this question will be answered. Okay, now let's move on. Let's look at this picture. Okay, I give you 10 seconds to look at this picture. Just look at this picture. Admire what? Look at the things that you can see, the colors, the contrast, the texture. Okay. Juan Alison will be my timekeeper. All right, now teachers, in your chat box, I want you to type. What are the 3 things that you saw just now in the picture? I repeat, type in your chat box. What are the 3 things that you saw in the picture? Okay, you can type. Right? I'm not going to check your answers, don't worry. Puan Alison and Nazura, I think they're checking. Okay, because when you present, actually, you can't see the chat box. Right? Puan Alison, your answers, right?
Yes, there are many answers given. Colorful air balloons, beautiful views, hot air balloons, broccolis, bread, strawberries, chilies.
Very good. Very good. Actually, teachers, what I'm trying to give you now is actually a pre-writing exercise for your students. Okay, because when you have an online teaching, it's very, very important. You want to bring your students to your class because you can't see them face to face. The only thing you have is a medium for you to contact with your students. So that's why I like to use pictures in my class. So this is actually a pre-writing. You know, you let your students write, you know, on the chat box, whether spelling is wrong and such. We don't care. We want them to be engaged in your lesson. Okay, so that will be a pre-writing. Okay, let's move on. Now, let's look at these 3 pictures. I'm sure your students will love it. You know, you don't have to tell them where is it. They will tell you immediately where is it. Okay, but now we are doing writing lesson. Okay, so now, in your chat box, I want you to type 3 adjectives. I repeat, 3 adjectives that describe these pictures. But, there's a but there. You need to include the word really or a bit. Example, really beautiful. So beautiful is an adjective. So you add the word really beautiful or a bit beautiful. Okay, so in your chat box now, I want you to type 3 adjectives about these pictures, but you need to insert the word really or a bit. Okay, so you may do now. Okay, so teachers, actually, you don't have to type. Okay, what I'm giving to you now is actually an writing lesson in class. So you see, just now I started off with word level. Now I'm going into phrase level. So you give them the support, a little bit of word for them to add. Now, those in teaching Form 2 Pulse 2, the word really and a bit comes in Chapter 7, in Unit 7, actually, in the grammar lesson. Okay, so I'm using these two words, okay, because they have been taught already, okay, really and a bit, so I add into my writing lesson. Okay, so you may do that with your class, and then you move on from word, phrase, let's move on to sentence level. So you bring them another set of pictures, okay, so now you tell them, I want to include, now you need to write for me, type for me a sentence, okay, sentence, describing your feeling about this place. Okay, I want you to type in your chat box about your feeling about this place in a sentence. For example, I am feeling very happy to visit this beautiful place. Okay, so as a teacher, it's very, very important. You need to give an example. You need to guide your students. By the way, actually, this is my Form 2 lesson. You actually can bring it up to a Form 3, Form 4, Form 1, even Form 1. Okay, it's up to you. Depends on your level of your students. Probably instead of feelings, you bring in something which is more into their level. Okay, so you can, as a teacher, you can also type in your chat box to give the example for your students to follow, or you ask them to type on your own. So from there, you as a teacher, actually, you can monitor what your students are doing. Okay, and then you try to read out the sample of sentences. Okay, we try not to instill fear. We want to bring enjoyment to the students as well. At the same time, actually, you're teaching them. So from word to phrase, from phrase, we bring them to sentence. Now, if let's say your students are good, you want to give them extra. So you bring in another component. You tell your students, okay, now, I want you to write about 3 activities that you can do when you visit these places. So you tell them, okay, I want 2 sentences or 3 sentences. Okay, so it's up to you as a teacher. So what I'm trying to tell here is actually, it depends on the student's level. Okay, so just now I started off with 1 sentence. So you want to bring them to another level, you bring in 2 sentences or 3 sentences. When you teach Form 4, of course, you have to give a higher level. Okay, give them more things to write. Probably ask them to include linkers or connectors. Okay, so the choice is yours. So what I'm doing here is actually a sharing of what I've been doing in my writing class. So I use pictures because pictures you can get, you know, Google image, you just click what pictures you want. And actually students, when they see something which is enjoyable to them, something which you cannot bring into class, you know, actually, you know, sometimes when we bring our LCD projector, it's not working and this and such. But now when everything is online, actually, there are a lot of things that we can use in our lesson. Okay, so it's very important as a teacher, you reinforce what you have asked them to do or what you have taught. Okay, for example, you tell your students, okay, when you describe places, you include adjectives, okay, you include feelings, you include activities. Okay, and then you tell them, remember the examples that I gave you earlier? It actually comprises all this. So you reinforce what you have taught. Right, teacher? Okay, the next thing, you want to give to another level. Let's say I want to do assessment now from my students because I've already taught, like what Dr. Tay has mentioned earlier, like what Amadi has mentioned. It's very important. You need to teach before you assess. So I've already gone through the teaching, right? So now I want to do assessment with them. I said, okay, now rewrite 3 sentences describing this place. And I tell the students, remember, you need to include adjectives, feelings, on activities. If you include activities lah, it depends on the level. Because if let's say for my weak student, usually I only give 2 options, adjectives and feelings. I don't include activities. But if your students are good, okay, so you can include activities. Good student is okay. You challenge them, you give them more, right? In your sentences. And as you can see, always give example. Do not allow your students to, to do everything on their own and then you assess them. Can in a way if they are good, but if they are weak, you need somehow or rather to give support. Okay, like what mentioned by Dr. Tay and Amadi, you have to give support as a teacher, right? Example I given there, I'm happy to visit this beautiful place with my family. Now, the question is assessment. If I were to ask my student to write in the chat box, they can see each other's answer, right? Will that be considered as cheating? Probably. So what are the platform that I can use? What I did was I used Whiteboard FI. Okay, today I'm not going to explain how to use Whiteboard FI because you can learn it from YouTube. You just click how to use Whiteboard FI, or you go to this website. It's free. Teacher is free. There's a YouTube below, and then they will teach you how you can use it. Why I like Whiteboard FI? Because every student has their own individual whiteboard and they can write their answers there. When they write their answers, actually they cannot see each other's answers. But for me as a teacher, I can see everyone's answer. So you can do your assessment in that way. But very, very important, okay, I have to admit, because I did a mistake. I told my student, okay, let's go to Whiteboard FI and do. So I wanted to do assessment with them. My mistake was because the students do not know how to use this app. Okay, my mistake was because I did not teach them and I did not guide them. I assume never mind lah, they're able to do it, but actually not. Because when I got feedback from my students, they said, teacher, why you never teach us? It's so difficult, this and that. Then got me thinking, I said, okay, I have to cancel this assessment. I have to do another assessment with them. So I used it as an exercise. So teacher, it's very important that when you do assessment with your students, you have to make sure that your students know how to use the app. Okay, because very important, like what Amadi mentioned, time frame. Okay, see like this student, you see what he wrote there, IDK, I do. Actually, it's an acronym, I don't know what to do. So if you have answers as such, or you have students, writing nothing, it's something which is actually for me, I find is not fair. Okay, so what I did another one with them. Okay, so Whiteboard FI is a good way. By the way, they have already upgraded. So actually, there are more, how shall I say, there are more things that you can do with Whiteboard FI. You can include pictures now. Okay, now back to assessment. Now, when you do assessment, the thing that you need to refer to is your DSKP. That is the one. Your SOW is the one that you do your teaching. Okay, and from SOW, you do your assessment. Assessment comes from your DSKP. Okay, so if you can see here, what I did just now earlier was for Form 2. So in Form 2, you have all these 8 objectives that you need to achieve. Okay, that the students need to know by the end of the year. So based on that, okay, and then you have your writing skill. All right, the learning standards are there. So the one that I highlighted in red is actually the one that if I were to use the Whiteboard FI earlier for the assessment, these are the 3 things that I'm assessing my students. Okay, express opinions. Remember, they're describing their feelings, the activities, the adjectives. Okay, and then I'm also looking into their punctuation. I'm also looking into their spelling. So when you do assessment, it's an ongoing thing whereby you can see your students writing it on the spot. Either they type or they write. Okay, because it's writing, okay, online. So they type their answer, is also fine, we still accept. Okay, or they write. Some of you, they use their stylus and they write, is also okay, we accept. So actually there are 3 things that we can access them in one go. Okay, but very important, you need to teach them first. Okay, teaching comes first before you can assess them. Okay, now back to this performance standard. It's different from what we grade in PT3. Okay, bear in mind, PT3 is different because it's under Lembaga. Now we're talking in terms of our curriculum, KSSM. Okay, so the DSKP, you have the performance standard. Performance standards, as you can see, from level 1 up to level 6. 6 is the perfect one. That means the students are beyond that level. They can go on further. Okay, so many words, right, teachers? You know, when you look at these words, also, I also pening kepala, honestly. Okay, so let me show you. How do I do it? Let me share with you what I've been doing. Okay, why I use 3? I think most schools, you know, your SU will tell you, cikgu letak 3 ya, mesti letak 3. Okay, why is it 3? I don't know. All right, probably for me, 3 is an adequate level. That is the basic for them to achieve that level. If you see level 3, you look at the notes there, achieves expectations to achieve curriculum target A2. That means they are at A2 level for level 3. Okay, all right. Now, so many words, right? Okay, so what do I do? Actually, as a teacher, I believe we don't only teach one form. We teach a lot of forms. Actually, in CFR, like for me, I'm teaching Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. So I have 3 sets of 4 skills that for me to assess my students. And each skill, all kinds of words. All right, so it's not easy for me to remember everything. So what I do, I look for keywords. For example, this is writing. Okay, express and organize ideas. Okay, punctuate, spell, plan, draft, edit. So these are the keywords, the key ideas that is very important when I want to assess my students in writing. Because teachers, your assessment is something which is on the spot. You cannot be opening your DSKP, turn here, and then you start reading. By the time you finish reading, the student's already completed. Okay, so it's very important you familiarize yourself with the keywords and try to make it simple, easy, and the most practical way for you to assess your student. Let me share. Okay, express and organize information ideas. I bring in the word expression. One word, from many words, I bring it to one expression. Writing, you need expression. Okay, you need to express your ideas. Then you have punctuate appropriately and spell accurately. I'm bringing one word, punctuation. Plan and draft written work. I bring in editing. So you see, for me, when I have these 3 main words in my mind, it's very easy for me to assess. So I don't say this is the right way. I don't say this is the perfect way, but I'm sharing of what I have been doing. So for listening, speaking, reading, writing, I have a different set of words, keywords, which easy for me to assess my student. Okay, so when I go to Form 2, later I will show you Form 2 and Form 4 is the same. Actually, the words are there. Okay, later we'll compare. So based on that, that's how I'm going to assess my student. Now, the next question, what is level 1? What is level 6? What is level 3? How am I going to rate my students? What's the difference? Okay. Now, teachers, I use from those words, so I'm just using the keywords, as what I said earlier. Okay, the first one, hardly display with a lot of support. At this level, the students are only writing phrases. Okay, I'm giving you an example, teacher, so that you can see the level, how it goes on, how they progress. Students do no punctuation. You tell them, you know, earlier you see, with a lot of support, you tell your student, you know, boy, you know, when you start a sentence, you need to write what? You need to start with capital letter or small letter. The student doesn't know how to answer you. For him, it's correct. Okay, so he just give you phrases, Ali boy. He just display. The idea is there. Punctuation is out, expression is out. He doesn't want to do any editing. Okay, that is level 1. Level 2. Teachers, we're talking about Form 2. Okay, Form 4 later, I'll tell you how. Okay, limited display. Okay, he will show you lah, with a lot of support. Example, Ali is boy. Okay, this student, he knows how to use his punctuation. He started off with capital letter and he ends with a full stop, but something is missing. You tell him, I think there's something is missing there. You know, boy, I think your sentence is incorrect. But this student, he doesn't know. He doesn't see it. For him, it's correct. The idea is there. Okay, punctuation, yes, correct. All right, when you ask him to edit, he doesn't know. He doesn't want to, or he doesn't know. Even though you gave him support, for example, you tell him, Ali is a boy or our boy. He will tell you, don't know. All right, okay, now the third one. Adequate shows some ability. Okay, at this level, level 3, I always tell myself, cukup makan. What does it mean by cukup makan? They just give you one sentence. This student doesn't want to expand anymore. Ali is a boy, cukup. Expression is there? Yes. Information is there? Yes. Punctuation is correct? Yes. Okay, is there any mistake? No. You ask him to write, boy, okay, let's say you ask, okay, Ahmad, Ali is a boy. Can you add, how will you describe Ali? Whether is it a handsome boy, or a kind boy? No, I don't want, teacher, enough. Like that is enough. Cukup makan saja. Okay, that is level 3. How about level 4? Okay, show ability. Is able to write better than level 3 with little support from feedback. Okay, you as a teacher, you tell your student, why not you add a little bit, you describe the boy. Remember earlier I gave you the earlier lesson that I taught you all about adjectives? Why not you give an adjective, you add an adjective. Okay, so this student listens. She wrote that. Ali is a handsome boy. So he add a little bit of support. He showed the ability there with feedback. So when you give the support, he listens and he add it for you. Okay, that is level 4. Level 5, they are independent. Okay, for example, you just tell the student, okay, Ali is a boy. Why not you add a little bit details to it? You don't have to tell the student, you need to add adjective. No, you just tell. Why not you add a little bit of details? The student will write for you as such. Ali is a handsome boy who is liked by everyone. Sorry, my spelling error, the word is missing. Sorry. Okay. And finally, 6, exemplary. That means this student can write a lot. You ask him to write 1 sentence, dah cukup. He will write 2 sentences, 3 sentences, 4 sentences for you. And teachers, you have to be sure. Doesn't mean that the amount of sentences the student write, the students achieve level 6. No, you have to go back to the descriptor, expression, punctuation, and editing. Now, when I say editing, because when you do assessment, there's a time frame. You cannot be asking them to do, be waiting there forever. You need to tell, okay, quick, 5 minutes, I want you to write. So actually at that time, at that moment, you can see your students' performance. Okay, so if you look at level 6, Ali, the most quiet boy amongst his the student can write a lot. And this is Form 2. And as you know, I think you have your students who are at Form 2, actually, they can really write a lot. Okay, do we give them level 6? Probably for this activity, probably for this skill, yes. Maybe for other skill, they are not. So that's why mentioned by Dr. Tay and Amadi, professional judgment by the teacher itself at the end of the year or by mid-year. Okay, so it's very important. Okay, now let's look at an example. How do I do assessment? All right, you look here. These are the one that I got from SOW. Same thing. We always refer to our SOW. Write a simple content from what they have read, and you have the complementary skill. Now, always remember, complementary skill is the one that complements your main skill. Okay? Okay, now I gave a storyboard to my student, and I want to assess them. Okay, so I used Jamboard. I think teachers, you're familiarized with Jamboard. Okay, if you do not know what is Jamboard, you can go to YouTube. Okay, and then you check about it, how to use Jamboard. So I had 6 pictures there. So I have 6 different boards, okay, for them to write. And example, I gave you now. All right, picture 1. Where are you and your friend? What you and your friend are doing. So actually, I only give them questions and I want to see them. You see, whether can they write simple content from what they have read. Okay? Okay. So these are the ones, these are the Jamboard. Okay, that I just show you an example what my students have did. Okay, as you can see, every student, actually, I want them to write their name. So this is an evidence. Remember, PBD must always have evidence, evidence, evidence. So this is your evidence. Okay, so this is my evidence. Okay, I just show you 4. Actually, I have 5, 6. All right. Okay. Now, so this is the one I gave them. Now, in each board, I put the question there. Okay, and I also, the red one is my answer. Okay, example, remember I told you earlier, it's very important as a teacher, you need to give example. And also number 2, you know why? I want to see whether any of the students actually copying my text. So from there, you actually can grade the students' performance standard, where they are. Okay, so I give them. Okay, now when you do assessment, very important, what do you want to assess? We are language skill teachers. We assess the skill, not activity. Remember that. We assess the skill, not activity. Your activity is a medium for you to conduct your assessment. So as a teacher, very important, you have to design a task that able for you to assess your student. Okay, the activities that you have in your SOW or in your Pulse 2, in your close-up, you know, it could be an activity, but you move, you can even use back the same material, but you assess them, you redesign. You want to test your skill, whether have they mastered the skill. Okay, so very important, we assess the skill, not the activity. Okay, you already have what? You have how. Okay, I design the task and the result is there. The students have written for you the answer. So how am I going to assess? We're going to do together, okay, teachers, today? Okay, so when you have the answer given by your student, you have to use the descriptor that you have, and then you assess your student. Okay, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, 5, and 6, and based on expression, punctuation, and editing. 3 things you bear in mind. Okay, let's do some exercise. Okay, because I believe when you do exercise, then you have a better picture, a clearer picture how to do it. Okay, now I have 3 students. Okay, I took their answers. Teacher, this is only one part, meaning I only use one picture. Okay, because you have to go, when I do assessment, actually I use all the 6 pictures. Then I give them the actual performance level that the students deserve. Okay, but for now, okay, since I'm only doing a short one with you, okay, so I'm only bringing one sentence. Okay, one part of it, one picture. Okay, so the black box are my students' answer. The red one is my answer. Okay, I give them an example. Jim and I were running from the rain. Okay, before that, remember, teacher? Okay, these are the 2 questions. Where are you and your friend? What are you and your friend doing? Okay, let's look at the first one, Benjamin. In the middle of the field with my friend, Ho Jian Yao. Full stop, It's raining, so we were running to find a shelter. Okay, now teachers, in your chat box, I want you to type for me, which is the level, performance level of this student based on his answer. Is it a 2? Is it a 3? Does he use my sample? Does this student go beyond what is required? Does he show, does he give extra information? Okay, so can you please type in your chat box, and Alison and Puan NAZURA will read out the scores for me because I can't see it.
Yeah, the answers are here.
Okay,
Hasanos is 6. Okay, Kalpanas is 3. Okay, Saralas is 4. Nurliza Hayati is 6. Kan Pong Yi 5. Okay, there are many answers here. 6,
okay,
3,
all right.
5,
Definitely no one gives a 1,
3, 5.
because it's not phrase level. Okay, so I think you know already, it's not phrase level. And 2, definitely, you know, there's not limited. The students give more. All right. Now, if 3 adequate, show some ability, I think this student has gone more. Tak cukup is more than cukup makan, you know. Okay, always put yourself when 3 means cukup makan. For example, you look at his answer. In the middle of the field, you see he used the word very descriptive. In the middle of the field. This student doesn't use in the field. Okay, he add more words. So I think the student would be more than 3. Okay, I hope you all agree with me. And then you see it's raining. So we were running to find a shelter. You see the word shelter. Running to find a shelter. You see, compared to mine, actually I give a very simple one. Jim and I were running from the rain. These students wrote more than what I've written, actually it gives more. So those teachers who gave 5, very good. Those of you who gave 4, okay. Probably you need to read more of this boy, Benjamin Tan's essay at the end, then you can give the actual score. Okay, 6. I think there's a mistake there. Okay, a little error there. So probably a 6 will not be, because when we say 6 is perfect. But okay, never mind. If you put 6, we keep that in mind. Okay, as we move on, when we read more of what he has written, then we will give a better judgment. Okay, let's look at page. Jake and I were running during the heavy rain while we are camping. So what level will you give this student? Is it the same as mine? Okay, so teachers, you can type your answers in the chat box. Page. What is
Rasmona is 6, Shubhashini 4, 1 Hidayati 5, Jacqueline 4, Suganti 5.
Just very generous. Okay, never mind.
Uma 4.
Right.
Okay, mostly 4.
Okay, 4 is okay. 4, yeah, I will give a 4. You know why? If you compare with my answer, actually the student churi a bit, my idea. Churi a bit lah, but she give a little bit more. Okay, while we are camping. So she give additional extra, so we can give a 4. But you can see there's some error. So teacher, always remember, editing, punctuation, expression. 3 things when you want to assess the student. We are looking at the skill. Okay, all right. Next one. Look at Jolina. Tessa and I were running away from the rain. What level will you give? Alison, yeah, you can read out. I think the Jolina.
3, 4, 3. 3, most of them 3.
3. Okay, I won't give a 3. You know why? Actually, she uses the same thing as mine. Okay, the only thing she changes is my name. So a 2, yes, a 2. Limited display with a lot of support. She's using my support a lot, actually, 90%. The only 10% is the name that she changed. Okay, so if you were to give a 3, probably the student will write, Tessa and I were running away, running quickly away from the heavy rain. Okay, then I will give a 3. That means she add more than my sentence. But actually, if you can see, it's similar to mine. She just changed the name. So we can't give a 3. We'll give a 2. So teacher, it's very important you have a base for you to fall on, because you have given your example. So your example is actually a benchmark for you to assess your student. At the same time, the support, so from there you can see whether the student is using your support or not. All right. Now, okay, let's go to the next one. I want you to bring to the last column. Can you look there, because time is running out? Okay, can you look at the last one there? Ong Chen Yi. Jane and I were running because raining cats and dogs. So teachers, how will you assess this student? This student using idiom. How will you assess the student? Can you please write your answer on the chat box? For Ong Tian Yi, Jane and I were running because raining cats and dogs. This student is using idiom in her sentence. So how would you grade your students?
Okay.
3, 4?
Yes, 4, most of them 4. Some 3 and 5.
Yeah, if you give a 4, it's okay. Because as we know, because some students, they memorize idioms. But this student, even though she used idiom, but it goes at the right place at the right time. Okay, so it's very important as a teacher, we see how our students write. We don't tell them, hey, no, you don't cannot write like that, it's wrong and such. You let them write, and then after that, you give them feedback. Okay, for example, sometimes I will disturb my student because I want to see whether do they know what they're writing. For example, I will ask, okay, come on, how do you spell running? Do you think running is a correct spelling there? So actually, you as a teacher, you're giving them feedback. At the same time, you want them to know whether they know what they are writing or not. Because it's behind, you can't see them what they're doing. Probably they're behind texting each other. You know, they're probably texting each other, you know, they're having the same answer and then they start typing there because this is Jamboard. Okay, it's not whiteboard FI. Whiteboard FI, they can't see each other's answer. Jamboard, you can see each other's answer. So usually, sometimes I will just purposely ask the students question to know whether what they are writing. Okay, all right. So I think, yeah, more or less, very good. I think you all know what you can, you know how to assess your student. Okay. If you realize, we have been doing lower form, so we're going to go into Form 4. Okay, now Form 4, and whether you are teaching Form 1, Form 2, Form 4, Form 3, actually the contents, that the learning standard goes across the same. Okay, Form 4, you see, you look at 4.1.1, explain information from diagrams, charts, tables, graph, and other visuals. It's more. Okay, sorry, Okay, if you look at this is Form 2, you see, explain simple content from what they have read. Something which is very simple. Compared to Form 4, it's the same thing they explain, but they bring in more materials, okay, for them to write from diagrams, from charts, okay, from graphs, from other visuals. So if you can see, teacher, actually the skill is the same. We are testing the same skill, but we are going into a higher level. Okay, now this is Form 4. Okay, it's the same thing. I bring in the performance standard. Now, you can see the performance standard as you go on, they have more pages. Okay, so I bring it smaller. I'm very sorry. Okay, so it's the same thing. I also use keywords and I bring it into expression, editing, and punctuation. And actually, it's the same. Sorry, teacher. It's actually the same. Okay, what is the difference? In Form 4, you have opinions now. So you can see the level of maturity of the students from Form 2 and Form 4 is actually more. Now this is the time you can see the Form 4, they need to give their own opinion, okay, in terms of writing. And then, okay, same thing is also expression. Now, Form 4, you have modify. When you give feedback to the students, they are able to edit. They're able to see the mistakes there when you tell them and they're able to modify. Now, feedback can come from teacher, can come from their peer feedback, is the same. Okay, later I'll show you an example. There's also a checklist for students to do self-assessment, okay, before they hand in their work. Okay, same thing. I also use the word editing. And then Form 4, you can see there's one more thing, registers. That's where the Form 4, you know, they need to know whether is this an informal, whether is it a formal. Okay, so they need to know the different type of genres when they write. Okay, so these are the three things. If you see it's the same, the base expression, editing, punctuation, P-E-E-P. Always I remember that, P-E-E. Okay, now performance level. Level 1. Now, display limited ability with a lot of support. If you can see just now, Form 2 is hardly any ability. But when you come to Form 4, the Level 1 itself is already displayed limited ability. This is where the students must be able to write sentence. But in the sentence, there's error. Okay, article is missing. Okay, probably the punctuation is wrong. Instead of putting a question, instead of putting a dot there, sorry, I missed out the word. Maybe he put a comma. Okay, a full stop. Instead of putting a full stop, probably he put a comma. Okay, so Level 2, display some ability with a lot of support. You tell the students, keep on telling the students, okay, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, or you give them a checklist. You ask the student to check, does all this feel okay? All right, so you have this. Ali is a boy. So when you tell the student, you know, you need to insert an article is missing. You know, Ali is one person or two person or teacher one person. One person, what must you put? Or or teacher okay. So you give them the support, a lot of support. Okay, same thing, level 3, cukup makan. I use that level. Ali is a clever boy. You can see the student gave his opinion there. Because if you see Form 4, one more additional, that one which I highlighted in yellow, opinion. He's telling his opinion. Ali is a clever boy. Okay, that's level 3. Show very few relevant details. Relevant details means the supporting details. Okay, and what we teach in writing. Ali is a clever boy. He is also handsome. Okay, so he gives with very few relevant details. The details are there and it is relevant. So we accept. Okay, he's at level 4. How about level 5? Now, level 5, if you can see, Ali is a clever boy. He is also handsome, like my favorite actor, Tom Cruise. So you can see the students have given you more details, okay, compared to level 4. Okay, so we give him a level 5 because he can bring in, he can associate it with other things. Okay, he giving his opinions more opinions. And level 6, the students are able to show variety of details. Okay, Ali is intelligent. He doesn't want to use the word clever. Too simple for him, for this student. He looks like my favorite actor, Tom Cruise. And the students were able to write more. Okay, and if we can see, students at level 5 and level 6, actually they will have a variety of sentence patterns. Okay, he will never, probably this student will not start with Ali, he, probably he start with something which is, maybe he talks about bringing the setting, then he brings in the character and such. So you can see level 5 and level 6 students, they can write independently. You can see beautiful expression, opinions are there. When you give feedback, they're able to take it and they know what to do. Okay, they know what registers to use. Let's say for informal letter, okay, I need to do this. Formal, I need to do this. The students are independent. They know. What you as the teacher, you just need to give a little bit of feedback. Sikit. Okay, for narrative, you need to do this. You know, when you want to write an email, it should be this. So that's how we guide our students. We facilitate them. We don't tell them, you know, this, that, you know, but we guide them. We give them feedback. So feedback is actually very, very important. Okay, all right. This is Form 2. I compare. You see, Form 4 is more, but when you have Form 2, it's actually is very lesser than Form 4. Okay, same thing now. Form 4. Main skill, what I'm actually doing with them. Okay, and I asked them to write a narrative story. Okay, now I go into ending. Just now I go for, this now was the introduction. Now is the ending. What happened to Susan? How does the story end? Okay. So this is the answer that my student gave. So how am I going to assess my student? Now, bear in mind, this is Form 4. Form 4, they can write more actually. Okay. So same thing, when you have that, how am I going to assess my student? Follow the level. Okay, now can you all do the assessment and you type in your answer? Okay, Yong-eun. Susan became a famous singer. Remember my question was, what happened to Susan in the end and how does your story end? So this is the sentence that my student gave. Okay, so how would you assess your student? This is Form 4. Puan Alison, Yong-eun, what did she get?
Yong-eun, okay, they put 2. Many answered as 2. I mean, Ben. Okay, goes you think 3.
There's also a 3.
Yeah, the rest 2 and
Yeah, 2, 3. Yes, we accept.
3, Shantini 3.
Yeah, we cannot go 4 because there's no other details. Okay. So actually not bad. Teachers, you're pandai. Can assist already. Okay, then we go to Lavinia. Richard, Susan, and Brian were saved, but Granger dies after being shot. How would you grade her? This is actually my good class. Yeah.
4. Some
Four.
says 3. Santi 4.
Hmm.
Mageshwari 4. Parameswari 4. Hisham 4.
Oh, very good. Actually good. I also
Rohana 3. Maharani 4. Punita 4. Gosyutik 4.
Good.
Helen 4.
Very good.
Nur Hayati 4.
Wow.
Carolina 4. Selvamani 4.
Enough. Very good lah. Okay, assess already. Now you can see the students already. Okay, let's look at how form. Teacher, remember very good when you assess three things, expression, editing, punctuation. We don't only see on punctuation, we also go for expression, whether the students are able to express their ideas well, their opinion is there. Okay, remember CFR can do statements. Okay, how about how form? They found out their mind controlled by scientists. When Lionel wake up from the world, the first thing to do is wake Janice up beside his bed and run away. Look at his punctuation, editing, expression. As a teacher, when you talk in terms of editing, when my students paste their answers, usually I read and I tell the student on the spot. I say, okay, how far? I think your spelling error there. Can you go through again and check your spelling? Or I will tell my student, I think your tenses is wrong, right? When you start with past tense, you must also end with. So that is the feedback that I give for my students when you're doing this editing to see whether they can understand. Okay, how would you give this boy?
Okay, Tusha 5. Yep, Xiaongo 5, Parameswari 4, Trishil 4, Siti Nurhaniza 5, Kesa
Khalida also 5.
Very good,
Punita 5.
Very good, all pass already. All right, yeah, we'll give the student 5. Okay, all right, look at Fang Yan. How would you give her instead? Enchanted 3, wish for his spirit to be set free from cursed forest. Susan, granted, wish, cursed, forest, sealed up since then. Expression, editing, punctuation, how would you grade her? Which level she stands?
Almost all 5 here.
Almost 5.
All 5.
You give 5. I won't give a 5. I will give a 4 because if you can see her answers are not completed, actually, something is missing. She's using a lot of hyphenated words. Hyphen, 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 hyphen. Okay. So actually, when I told this student, I said, I want you to write in sentences. Then, you know, she didn't want to change. I said, okay, fine. Okay, so actually I gave a 4. But if you give a 5, I know why. Because her vocab is quite good. Her vocab is quite good. Okay, punctuation is there, expression is there, but I gave her a 4. Okay, if a 5 is okay, teacher, because you know why? At the end of the day, it's your judgment. You as a teacher, you will know your students, whether these students can write, you know, whether this student is able to express, punctuate well, able to edit. Okay, so you do the professional judgment. No one has the right to question your professional judgment. Okay, I also tell my teachers, you are the one answerable to whatever you give, whatever score you gave. Okay, when someone asks you, you must be able to answer, justify, show evidence. Okay, so evidence, very, very important. Okay, teacher. Okay, now for my school, I have this PBD assessment. Actually, in before CMO, every teacher in my school, I prepare a file for them together with the DSKP, the descriptor for every skill and their name list, and that's how they do their PBD. But unfortunately, like Dr. Tay, my file is also left in the school. Okay, so now everything I go through online. Okay, everything is just a soft copy. So I written there, S is speaking, 2 and 4 is the skill. 1, you know the numbers there. Because you as a teacher, you must be able to know what you are writing actually. Like for me, 2 and 4 is actually the skill. 1 and 8 is the skill based on the objectives that the student need to know. Okay, so I written there. Some of the students didn't attend my class, so they don't get their score. Okay, teachers, if you want to do assessment, can. but try not to use back the same question. You need to change a little bit. Because students, they're very smart, they start asking their friends, actually what Puan Michelle did, what she asked, then they start giving the answers. So something which is not valid. So it will need to change. Okay? All right. Now, feedback, very important. So when I do writing with my students, now this is the one that I get from Close Up. Actually, Close Up, our textbook that we have, they are very, 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 very good. Okay? Not to say that I want to promote, but actually they're very good because in that book, you have a lot of materials that you can actually guide your students to use them. Okay, like for example, this is the writing which is from Close Up towards the end. You see, every genre, every type of writing, there is a review checklist. Okay, I give this to my student. What I do is actually I type it for them and I told them, okay, you have really written. Can you please go through again the checklist? Do you really have all these? If everything is there, then only you hand in to me. Okay, if not, you go back. Or what I do is, sometimes I will ask their friends to check for them. Okay, when their friends do the checking, I'll do the final checking for them. So when the last thing comes to me, okay, that's it, the final one. So these are the ones that teachers, you can use in your class when you do a online writing. You can tell your students, you give them example. You bring the example, okay, what is the plan? Okay, what's the grammar, the punctuation? Okay, so it's very important. We need to teach our students to do self-assessment before they hand in to their teacher. Always make it a practice for them, or they give it to their friends to check and such. It is not easy, but I believe that somehow, somewhere we need to start, because our students, every time they write, they do not want to check. They don't like to check. As long as they write, hantar lah, that kind of thing. They don't want to check. But always I tell my students, if I get any simple mistake, which I've already told you, I'm going to make sure you write the whole entire essay 5 times for me. You see? So, yeah, that's how I threaten them. So it's a habit, I make it like a habit for them. They know, or before they hand in to me, they need to have all these checklists. Okay, you have, like you see for story, these are the checklists. When you're writing an email, these are the checklists. So if a self-assessment for them before they hand in their actual one to me, their final work to me. Okay, all right, teachers. I hope I've shared some insights with you which you can use in the class. Okay, it doesn't matter how slowly you go. It's okay. Start somewhere slow. I also started very slow. Okay, I also had mistakes along the way, but do not stop. Okay, because we as teachers, we are also mothers, we are also fathers, they are like our kids, our children. So definitely, somehow or rather, we will try to help them. Okay, so with that, thank you very much. Okay, over to you, Alison. Thank you.
Thank you for the wonderful ideas shared, Michelle. It doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you don't stop. The lovely quote is certainly very close to our hearts as teachers, because in our profession, we come across many pupils with different level of abilities. All right, the step-by-step method that Puan Michelle has shared serves as a guide for us to prepare assessment based on the descriptors in our performance standard guide, which can be found in the DSKP. Talking about DSKP, which is also known as Standards-Based Curriculum and Assessment Document, it is pertinent for us to reread and understand fully the performance standard guide in the DSKP in order for us to master the skill in assessing our pupils. Now, moving on to our Q&A session, may I invite NAZURA to read out the questions from the chat box for the speakers to address. We will begin the questions for speaking, followed by listening, reading, and writing. Over to you, NAZURA.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. All right. Some teachers already posed the question in the chat box, and then Dr. Tay, for example, already answered some of them. So basically, when I look through the chat box, there's one question from one EM Nurlin about the how to, the step by step guide how to upload the audio from British Council because she's having problem with it. I think that's basically the question because all the presenters already presented their materials clearly and in detail, and everyone clearly understood what they have achieved. And so far, basically, there's one for Dr. Tia, right?
Okay, thank you, Puan Nazura. Okay, I would like to show you the listening run. Just now I spotted one question as well from, let's say, for this from this British Council. Okay, you can see my screen, right? Okay, so you have this, the text here. Right? Okay. Then you have the transcript here. There is a part whereby you can download the audio. Not all websites allow you to download, but some do. So you have to be very lucky. All right. Let me see if this one can. Okay, this one I can't download. All right. So if you can't download, just display like how I display it to you. Okay, you share your screen. So in your GCR, you share your screen. Yeah, and what I normally do is I play the audio and I put on the question here as well. Ask them to answer the questions and write down the answers in their book. Yes, and there's one teacher who asked, how if the audio is too fast? Let's say if this is too fast. Okay, let's say this is fast. Okay, we can copy this one. Can you all see? Copy the transcript. Just copy a little bit here. Copy this. Put it in the free text-to-speech online apps here. All right. Copy and paste it here. So you paste it here. See, the script is here, and you can choose. This is US, Sharon. I don't want. I want to choose UK, Rachel. And speed, you want to minus the speed, right? Slower. So -1. So let's listen. See, it's lower. Okay, if you want a male voice, okay, if you think if you have a very good student, you want to go faster, speed 1. This is UK speaker Peter. So this is how. Okay, so in terms of how to download the audio, some websites allow you to download, some don't. So if you can't download, just display your share your screen with the students. Thank you very much. Nazura, back to you.
So that's it. The questions from the teachers. Okay, so I hand it over to our lovely moderator, Puan Alison.
Okay, thank you, Puan Nazura and Dr. T. All right. Before we go forward, okay, I would like to invite our master trainer, Puan HALIMATUL Saadia. She would like to talk about something about feedback. Okay, over to you, Puan Halima. Puan HALIMATUL.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, sorry. I thought I heard you switched on the microphone. Okay, I'll just make this a very quick one. But first of all, very, very big hand and congratulations to all the presenters today. Wonderful job. And thank you to all the teachers for being here to the very end. I just like to touch a little bit on feedback because all of the presenters spoke about how important it is for us to give meaningful feedback. And I like the fact that Michelle said that we should also teach our pupils on how to give meaningful and helpful feedback to not only our pupils but among themselves when they are doing self-assessment. So in order to do that, I'd like to remind teachers the content that you were exposed to when you were doing your formative assessment training. Use the simple ones like giving them the medals and missions model, or the easiest and the most I think a lot of teachers are using right now would be the 2 stars and a wish. So use that kind of modeling to not only apply in your own feedback to your pupils, but also train your pupils or teach them on how to give meaningful and helpful feedback. Don't just simply say, oh, wonderful job, I like your answer, that's a really good word that you use. So, you have to teach them and tell them what they did best and how they can improve in their future work in the next lesson. I think that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Puan Halimatul Saadia. All right, teachers, we are almost done with today's session on engaging online CFR-aligned lessons through visible progress. I hope we have achieved our objective, which is to share methods and activities on collecting evidence, as well as recording them for reporting when our SUPBS requests us to key in. Okay. All right, let me share with you something that I always keep in mind when teaching CFR-aligned lessons. We need to remember that pupils are taught the skills so that they can apply them in any assessment and most importantly in their daily lives. As the famous adage goes, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. This is associated with the skills taught to the pupils. We do not spoon feed them, but instead we teach them, we provide them the armor to face real life challenges.